Tonight, an accused gunman taken down in Karoi. Coolum residents divided over traffic congestion. Queensland found to have had the best pandemic response. And a war vet's 103rd birthday.
Live from the Sunshine Coast, this is 7 News with Joanne Desmond.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. A magistrate has laughed at the lawyer of a man charged over a dangerous rampage from Brisbane to the Sunshine Coast after she hinted he might apply for bail. The 23-year-old was arrested in Karoi yesterday, accused of holding a family at gunpoint and crashing a stolen car. Jordan Bissell has the details.
The red Mazda, the getaway car from that terrifying armed hold-up yesterday morning, crashed on the Bruce Highway at Karoi just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The accused driver, 23-year-old Ethan Williams Scully, was allegedly found hiding with a young woman in a shed on a Curry Court property. Witnesses say the pair had run through a schoolyard after the crash and into a resident's backyard. He called police and an ambulance. Scully was reportedly shirtless and barefoot. The woman hasn't been charged. His matter was listed for mention at the Maroochydore Magistrates Court today.
I heard the police yelling at their sky with no shirt on and get on the ground. And
yeah, it was pretty hectic. And when we'd found out that the fella they had eventually taken into custody had a gun, that's when we started to get a little bit concerned about what the heck was going on.
It's also emerged the 23-year-old's alleged crime spree included the theft of a Mitsubishi Lancer from a Hillcrest home on Monday. That car was also found dumped and written off on the Sunshine Coast.
He's literally kicked my back door in, and he's waving a gun around. And then he's found my keys, got in my car and took off.
The highly anticipated school road upgrade has left the Coolum community divided. While authorities say the new intersection is a big improvement, some feel the multi-million-dollar project has made the traffic situation worse.
The previous state government invested $6 million to reduce traffic at one of the most notorious intersections on the Sunshine Coast.
The old single lane roundabout here had expired. It was built when Coolum had a population of a few thousand people and the school had a population of a few hundred kids.
That community is now 10,000 strong and the school has more than 1,000 students.
$6 million? Well, I reckon put the roundabout back.
Some locals say the lack of signage and a 3-lane crossing to leave the petrol station is doing more harm than good.
Yeah, we've been waiting there for like 10 minutes just to turn the corner.
While others claim it is an improvement.
I had the quickest run from work to home last night I've ever had.
Might take a few teething problems, adjustments, but other than that, I don't know. I give it a chance. That's what I say.
But they can all agree there's still plenty of other work to be done.
Duplication of that motorway and also the fixing up of that southern access into Coolum.
The government will invest $40 million in the connection onto the motorway.
What do you think Coolum needs in terms of better roads?
Safer drivers.
A Transport and Main Road spokesperson said traffic light phases will be adjusted over the coming weeks.
Having a safe, controlled crossing every hour of the day, every day of the year now is absolutely a fantastic outcome.
Danny Sharp, 7 News.
Heavy-handed COVID lockdowns and school closures have been slammed by a report into Australia's response to the pandemic. It shows trust has been severely eroded and lockdowns took a major toll on mental health, but Queensland managed more effectively than other states.
After enduring seemingly endless lockdowns, masks and vaccinations, Queenslanders are learning to live with COVID, but it was a steep learning curve.
Australia wasn't prepared, the world wasn't prepared for such a big, infection.
The COVID-19 inquiry was scathing of the states and those who imposed harsh border closures, particularly here in Queensland and in Western Australia.
We were the first state to put in a public health emergency.
Data reveals 20,000 Australians died as a result of COVID. But despite the sobering statistic, people also lost trust in governments.
If you don't give people good reason for what you're asking them to do, particularly if it's a really big behavioural change, they're not going to do it.
I think we would probably not be as well off because of the lack of trust in the messaging that would come from governments and experts.
Mental health issues, particularly among children, surged.
Really those downstream effects on children who were not permitted or prevented from socialising with their peers and being in school.
One of the report's 26 recommendations highlights the need for a $250 million centre for disease control. Australia is the only OECD country lacking a national facility.
We desperately need one, and it shouldn't just be for managing pandemics or communicable diseases. We need a centre for disease control that provides national guidance on health across the board.
Hannah Watt, 7 News.
The federal member for Fisher has criticised the government for its lack of investment in attracting and retaining apprentices. Alarming data from Master Builders Australia shows there's been a drop of more than 8% in completion rates of TAFE apprenticeships.
Finding skilled workers is becoming harder as less people take up an apprenticeship.
There's been a 12% drop in the commencement of apprenticeships and nearly a 9% drop in the completion rate of those apprentices.
Yeah, we are concerned, but we're trying to address that as best we can.
Federal MP Andrew Wallace says the construction industry is most heavily impacted, and the biggest implications will be in the years to come when the current workforce begins to retire, adding to the already crippling skills shortage.
And that's going to have significant impacts on the cost of housing and the costs of construction in the building industry.
He's criticised the Labor government for a lack of funding and effort to fix the issue.
The federal Labor government have fundamentally failed young Australians.
But in a statement, the Federal Minister for Skills and Training, Andrew Giles, refutes the claims, stating the Liberals cut $3 billion from the system and left the worst skilled shortage in 50 years. And that their data shows in the past year the number of people commencing construction apprenticeships has increased 8%. Rebecca Jensen, 7 News.
One of the most recognisable voices on the coast has announced she's leaving her radio job after more than 25 years. Caroline Hutchinson has spent the majority of her career as a breakfast host with Mix FM.
It's just time. I am 56. And if I'm going to have a second life, then I just need to get busy and do it. I need to go and do it.
But she isn't hanging up her headphones for good just yet. Caroline will stay on air until Christmas. Her replacement remains a mystery. Well, marking a century is certainly a milestone, but one veteran has gone a few years beyond that. Adrian Nall is one of Australia's last remaining World War II vets, and today he turned 103.
A milestone very few people have reached.
For 103, I think, yeah, he's doing pretty good.
Born in 1921, Adrian spent years on the Kokoda track as a signals officer in the 55th 53rd Battalion.
Having endured some of the most harshest conditions one can imagine.
Australia was under attack by the Japanese Imperial Forces.
But after contracting malaria, he was sent to recover in Townsville, where he met his future wife in a medical tent and began work as an electrician.
Using his skills as from being a radio operator and fixing, the wireless.
Today he was battling strong pain medication, but nothing could keep the smile off his face once his great-grandson arrived.
The kids love him to bits, and he loves the kids. He loves seeing the kids.
Adrian is one of around 20 World War II veterans left on the Sunshine Coast.
It's incumbent upon us to remind young people that the freedoms that we enjoy today aren't free. They were paid for by the blood of 103,000 Australians.
They fought so bloody hard to be here, and it's worth sticking around for, I guess.
People need to know. People need to know what's happened and the service that they gave.
Danny Sharp, 7 News.
Happy birthday, Adrian. Well, ahead tonight, in the spirit of Halloween, regional Queensland tops the list for spine-chilling places and major renovations to breathe new life into Noosa Surf Club. Thanks for joining us here on 7. Noosa Shire is staying hydrated. Unity Water has collaborated with Noosa Council to unveil free water refill stations across the region. Its aim is to reduce single-use plastics while providing the community access to clean drinking water. Refill stations can be found at Noosa Junction, Peregium Beach Shopping Square and Karoi Library.
There's 23 across Noosa Shire, but we intend to roll out a lot more.
Even four-legged drinkers like Murphy are giving it their wag of approval. The historic Noosa Head Surf Lifesaving Club is looking to the future. After collaborating with club members, council and stakeholders over the past 18 months, a potential rebuild is on the way to future-proof the beloved landmark.
It's more than a club, but an institution approaching its 100-year anniversary. A place that entire generations of families call home.
We've got grandchildren in nippers. Our daughters did nippers and worked for the club and patrol, so we've got 3 generations of people in this club now.
Lifesavers patrol an area extending far beyond the main beach flags, with around 400 active lifesavers overseeing as far as Noosa National Park and the North Shore. But there's no more space inside Noosa Head Surf Club. It's running at full capacity with record nipper numbers. That very growth is now driving a rebuild and refresh of an ageing building.
And we really can't do much more with the building for the future. We've run out of space, we're jammed in. I could show you the life-saving room, it's just bulging out.
The endeavoured refurb would also provide on-site parking for lifesavers, enhanced training facilities and cutting-edge equipment.
The refurbishment will be about providing better services for and facilities for our members.
The next stage is to put a price on the rebuild and find the funds to ensure those who keep Noosa's iconic beaches safe can do so in comfort for another 100 years. Jodie Clark, 7 News.
Well, if you're looking for a fright tomorrow night, you could be in luck. Queensland has the highest number of haunted hotspots of any state. Hotels and pubs dominate the spooky sightings, and property growth in the regions has never been better.
Ghosts and ghouls have made Queensland their haunting ground in hotels, pubs and restaurants.
I was surprised, but at the same time, not so surprised.
The Ray White Group has discovered 296 haunted locations across Australia, 66 of those in regional Queensland.
You see a lot here and there on social media and stuff.
No, it's actually not spooky, no.
We're here in Toowoomba, which some call the paranormal capital of Australia, and this is the Royal Bull's Head Inn, the oldest standing building in the city, where several ghosts have been sighted.
And I'm more frightened of the people from the hotel across the road.
While Maryborough, the home of Mary Poppins, boasts 4 haunted locations, the same amount reported in Townsville and Rockhampton.
It seems regional Queensland is a hub for that, for better or worse.
Atom says the spooks aren't scaring people away as property prices across regional Queensland continue to grow.
It spirals outward from the centres such as Brisbane, Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast.
Aussies are more than willing to get spooky for a treat, with homes decked out for Halloween tomorrow night. Tom Duffy, 7 News.
I know you've got your costume all organised, Halloween.
If you want to see spooky, I'm doing the news tomorrow without makeup. That'll really scare you, Joe. So you've been warned, people.
All right, well, let's have a look at sport. And Alex Heads Beach will be extra busy from Friday.
Absolutely, Joe. It's the opening round of the newly named World Ocean Series, the Hayden Kenny Classic. We'll have more on that next. While the Noosa Tri Festival, it's off and racing for another year with today's traditional run, swim, run. And welcome back. Well, the Noosa Triathlon Festival is officially underway with the 5 days of sporting action, starting with this morning's traditional run, swim, run event. And the men's and women's champs are both from Noosa, like Fenella Gibbs-Beale, who will now race in Friday's Ocean Swim.
Fenella Gibbs-Beale has won the Noosa Run Swim Run before, and once again she couldn't be stopped on a beach the Olympic open water hopeful knows quite well.
It was so good, yeah, really nice conditions, really calm, not windy at all, nice and sunny, water's warm, so yeah, it was really good.
In today's boys race, it was victory for another Noosa surf athlete, Walter Curry, home in a time of 22 minutes and 23 seconds.
I like soft sand running because I do a lot of the surf stuff, and this is my home beach, so know the conditions pretty well now.
The under-14s category also saw plenty of those aged 8 to 13 hit the sand and water, with Mason Kopf and Tello Crouch taking the wins. The next big day of events is Friday before the main race Sunday, the Noosa Tri. where Ash Gentle will look to go 10 in a row, while the men's field is wide open.
What's really exciting is Luke Willian, who was just at the Olympics. He's coming to race with us again. He is a past winner, as well as Jake Birtwistle. He's also returning as one of our past winners.
And how's this? Leanne Kogel is running 10 Noosa tries in 10 days to raise money for cancer research charity Smiling for Smitty. Today was number 6, while Sunday she will have plenty of other competitors beside her as she completes the journey.
I'm feeling pretty good, actually. A good night's sleep and a little massage works a treat. It's just juggling the family and work.
Luke McGarry, 7 News.
And that's not all this weekend. Hundreds of athletes will be at Alexandra Headland Beach from Friday for one of the biggest surf life-saving carnivals on our calendar. It's the Hayden Kenny Classic, which is the opening round of the newly named World Ocean Series.
It's the Summer of Surf Series, but now under its new name of the World Ocean Series. There's 13 rounds and it all begins at Alexandra Headland Beach on Friday.
Definitely racing on your home beach is a different atmosphere and excitement that you can't replicate at another beach.
It's called the Hayden Kenny Classic, one of only 4 10,000-point events on the schedule, and that's why it brings out so many big names, including Jet Kenny.
For Jet and for the Kenny family, they've been involved in the Alex Surf Club. Grant Kenny probably put the Alexandra Headland Surf Lifesaving Club on the map.
And fresh from her Bluff to Bar win, Lani Pallister will wear the Alex cap in the team events.
This is her enjoyment. This is her break away from the pool, and at the moment there's an opportunity for her to come down and be with her friends and be with, the club that supported her from nippers right through.
But in a surprise, the Olympian's also nominated for the board race.
She's a former junior Australian board champion and she can paddle when she wants to.
While Cooper Williams and Emma Woods are both looking for big results in the iron.
Both of them would be looking to probably try and find a little bit more consistency in their racing, although Emma was not outside the top 5 or 6 towards the end of the season.
There's not too much swell, so not much can go wrong. I guess it's just the ultimate speed of which club will be the fastest on that day, and it's exciting to look forward to.
The Ironman and Ironwoman heats begin Friday afternoon with other events Saturday. Luke McGarry, 7 News.
Sunshine Coast scorcher Lucy Hamilton will again be running the drinks tonight for the Brisbane Heat in their match with the Melbourne Renegades. That's because the Heat are playing an unchanged side from the one that opened the season on Sunday with the win over Adelaide. Brisbane has won the toss and they're having a bat first in their first home game. Now, fellow scorcher Michaela Wrigley wasn't available for selection in this game after she was struck in the throat in her return match for the Scorchers on Sunday against Wests. And while the 20-year-old is okay under Cricket Australia's mandatory concussion stand-down policy, she will be sidelined for 10 days. And the Aussie Diamonds are also in action as we speak as they look to avoid a historic 4-0 Constellation Cup series sweep at the hands of New Zealand. And they'll have to do it without one of their Lightning squad members. Cara Conan was a surprise omission from the Diamonds' final 12, but Liz Watson and Courtney Bruce are playing, and the Coast goalkeeper was in a menacing mood early on. A short time ago, it was 15-all at quarter time. So go the Diamonds, go the Heat. That's it for our sport. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for that, Nath. Stay with us after the break. Livio joins us with all the weather.
Good evening, Livio Regano with tonight's weather. It's been an almost rainless day across the Sunshine State, but that will change from tomorrow as thunderstorms start brewing inland and slowly drift towards the coast. Very isolated though. It's also going to get really warm for the second half of this week as we welcome November onto the playing field. Temperatures today ranged from 15 degrees at the bottom end to high 20s at the top. The warmest was Gympie, where the mercury actually hit 30 degrees. So let's look at the satellite loop. Very, very quiet today. In fact, all the activities around the Gulf country where there also happens to be a heat wave warning. Luckily, it's not affecting us around here. It's been relatively mild. Almost nothing in the way of rainfall, though there has been quite a lot of cloud. You would have noticed that just obliterated the sun from time to time. In case you were trying to get a suntan, you would have been a bit disappointed. Today's chart, you've got an inland trough now. It's still a long way west, and that's one of the reasons why it's been so dry today. And in fact, there's supposed to be an H in the middle of this ring, and beneath a high, you tend to get very light winds, and it's been very, very pleasant boating weather as a result. Tomorrow's chart, though, the trough starts to march east, and you can see the winds start to come around from the north-northwest. In fact, by the end of the day, we might even reach 30 knots, and a strong wind warning has been issued for that. Also, the chance of storms is a bit better developing along this trough. Upper-level westerlies will try to bring them towards the coast, probably won't quite make it this far. On the outlook chart, this is Friday. This is our best chance of getting a storm even on the coast because the trough gets closer and we have another day of very humid north to northwesterly winds. So now the latest from the Weather Bureau, the boating forecast for Sunshine Coast waters. That strong wind warning's been issued for 20 to 30 knot northerlies developing late afternoon south of Maroochydore. Elsewhere, 15 to 20 knot northerlies ahead of a weak southeasterly change on Saturday. Clean, stable surf on most beaches today with hardly any wind and a nice smooth swell. Soon we'll start to see more chop as the north wind picks up. Tomorrow's almost new moon, so tides are getting pretty big. We start the day with the first of two high tides, the second being late in the evening, with a low tide after lunch. Now, for the southeast coast, showers developing through the afternoon with the chance of a late thunderstorm. Maroochydore 18 to a warm 29 degrees, Nambour 31, Gympie 33. And looking ahead, there's a chance of rain almost every day, but Friday's the most likely time for a decent storm when the temperature peaks at 31, followed by a cool change to just 26 degrees on Saturday. That's all the weather for tonight. Pleasure to have your company and thanks for watching 7 Local. I'll be here again tomorrow with the next page of the Great Book of Weather. Hope you can join me. Now it's back to you, Jo.
Great, thanks for that, Liv. That's us for this Wednesday. Thanks very much for your company. We hope you can join us again tomorrow. From all of us here, good night.